I'd like to welcome to the Wayback Country Jamboree today a true living legend of country music who in 1950 through to the 1980s had such classics as The Bridge Washed Out as well as Sitting in an All-Night Cafe. It's my pleasure to welcome to the show today a personal favorite and a hero of mine in country music, Warner Mack.
Well, thank you, Donnie. It's good to be here with you.
Well, it's a pleasure to be talking to you today, sir. Do you prefer Mr. Mack or Warner?
Warner Mack. Just Warner Mack is all. I don't need any Mr. I just want to get into that at all.
Okay, sure. So, unlike many in your generation of country music, you were born in Music City in 1938.
Well, now, there's one thing Pauline asked me to verify right off the bat. My birthday was 35.
1935, okay, yeah.
Yeah, 1935.
Okay.
So everything is correct with that. And I'm glad they give me those 3 extra years. That's been in a lot of publications.
Yes.
But my real birthday is 35.
Okay. And what was it like growing up in Music City?
Well, I can't say it was any different than anything else. My dad was a minister, and when I was 7 years old, we moved to Jackson, Tennessee. He took a church down there.
Oh yeah.
And but my young life there was just fabulous. I love Nashville. I always have loved Nashville.
And what are your earliest musical memories?
Oh, well, it would have to be in gospel because being raised in the church, naturally we sang as a family, and so it would be probably somewhere around 5 or 6 that I started singing with a family here and there.
Okay, sure. And how did you get into country music? Did you always know you wanted to be a country musician?
Well, it's funny. All my life, I always wanted to be a country singer. I was in Vicksburg, and when I was just a young tot, I would extra antennas on the radio in order to pick up the Grand Ole Opry at 7 o'clock so I could hear the Grand Ole Opry.
Yes.
And Hank Williams, I was a big fan of Hank Williams, and I got to meet Hank. That was a thrill, one of the thrills of my life. And I think that answers the question.
And what was Hank like when you met him?
I just said something to him like, Hank, it's so good to meet you. I want to be a country music singer someday. And he looked at me and he shook my hand and he said, well, son, I wish you a lot of luck. I sure do.
Yes.
And I was about 17 then.
Is that right? And where was that?
That was in Nashville. I had came back to Nashville. All my family lived in Nashville, so I went to Nashville quite a bit from my home in Mississippi.
Oh yeah. And among the many highlights in your career, you have also worked on the Louisiana Hayride.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, it was great. The first time I went to the hayride, I remember very well. A friend of mine, Jackie Everton, took me down there, and he was the one that was going to help me get on. And so I kept waiting to get on, and the fella come on, and he said, well, you see this guy that's on, they won't let him leave the stage. And it was Elvis Presley.
Oh, yeah.
And so my first tour there wasn't too exciting because I had to sit and listen to Elvis, but he tore him up, and
yes.
And he always tore me up. I always liked Elvis a whole lot.
Did you get to meet him?
And no, I never did get. I met him when I was young, real young, but I don't count that as meeting him musically. Yeah. But I did. Yes, I did meet him. Yes.
And another one you worked on was the Red Foley Ozark Jubilee.
Yeah, that's right. That was in Springfield, Missouri. Yes. And my friend Brenda Lee was on there, and I did two different times. I was on that was an ABC network thing, and I was on there with Brenda, and I got to meet Rod Brasfield's brother, who was a comedian for that network and the Red 40 show.
Yes, for sure.
I can't even remember his name now because I was something I don't remember.
Cousin Elmer.
But,
Cousin Elmer?
Could have been Cousin Elmer.
Yes.
Could have been, yeah.
Yes. And so, going back to the age 13, you wrote a song titled, Is It Wrong for Loving You?
Yes, I did,
Yes. Would you share with us that story?
Well, I was dating, I think I was in the ninth grade, and I was dating a girl by the name of Lucy.
Okay.
And, I took her home from a date, and I forgot my hat.
Oh, yeah.
So when I got home, I thought, well, I'll run back there and pick up my hat. So I went back by, and Lucy was sitting on the front porch with a friend of mine, and I was shocked because I had just left her. It was my date, you know.
Yes.
But anyway, the next day I was out mowing the grass.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, I was trying to remember. I started singing that song, "Is It Wrong for Loving You?" And so I kept it in my mind. I wrote it down, took it and wrote it down inside. We've been inside the house.
Yes.
And when I cut my first record, that was my first song that I ever did. Was "Is It Wrong for Loving You?"
Yes, and it was number one for Sonny James.
Yeah, that was the seventh grade. That was the seventh grade instead of the ninth grade.
Okay.
I was thinking, and so anyway, that's how "Is It Wrong" came about. Yeah.
Okay, and it was a hit for Sonny James, I understand.
Yeah, in fact, Sonny was number one with it. He sure did.
Yeah. How did he get a hold of it?
Well, of course, I had recorded it in '58, and
yes.
And it has been that song stayed around on the charts for 39 weeks, and of course, somewhere in there during that time, he had heard it. Evidently, he liked it.
Yeah.
And he recorded it. I didn't even know he'd recorded it until it came out, and so it went number one by Sonny James.
And then in 1965, you recorded what would become your all-time signature song, "The Bridge Washed Out."
Yeah, the bridge washed out. Yeah. Well, there's a story of that. I don't know if the fans will get bored with my stories or not, but I'll try to slim it down. There was a friend of mine from a disc jockey friend from Montgomery, Alabama.
Yes.
And he came. I was doing a car wreck.
Okay.
And he came to see me as I was recovering, and his name was Jimmy Lynn, and Jimmy Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
And he had played stuff all night, and there wasn't anything there that struck me that I really liked. So as he was going out the door, he yelled back. He said, "Well, I got this one song on. The bridge washed out. I can't swim, and my baby's on the other side." I said, "Oh, bring that to me."
Yeah.
And so he brought me the title, and that's all I had was the title, and I worked with it.
Exactly.
Until I finally made a song out of it.
Yes.
And it went number one. It was my first number one song.
Yes, and it's one of our all-time favorites here at the Jamboree.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, because I love the Bridge Washed Out, because I lived with it so long trying to make a hit out of it, and to watch it grow, it was really something.
Yes, I'd imagine, yeah. And you were talking about a car wreck you had in the 60s.
Yeah, let me bring my cousin in here. Her name is Florine, and she's a big fan of mine, and I want you to talk to her about the car wreck.
Well, he and his wife Peggy were coming back from Michigan, where he'd been doing some shows.
Yeah.
And it was in Indiana, wasn't it? In Indiana, it was a snowstorm and ice storm, and he lost control of the car and went off of a cliff. And he was messed up pretty bad there for a while.
Oh, yes.
They had to take his spleen, gallbladder, and a lot of different things out.
Oh, wow.
and it took him a long time to recover. So having to go through that, then he lost out on being able to perform and do the things he needed to do in the music business.
Okay.
But every time he came back out in the 70s and 80s, he always come out with a number one song.
Yes, he sure did.
Well, that's all I know.
Okay, thank you.
Here he is.
Okay, that's a divorce anyway, and she gave some information that probably I wouldn't have.
Okay,
so,
sure.
Anyway, I think she done a good job. Okay,
yeah, she sure did. And another song I must ask you about, Warner, is a classic called All Night Cafe.
Yeah.
How did you come to record that?
That's a Jim Glazer song.
Okay.
We were out on the road, and I say Jim Glazer, well, that's who I went through to get the song, but it's actually Tom Paul and Chuck who was the writer also on it. They wrote it.
Yes.
As the Glazer brothers.
Yes.
And we were up in I can't remember the name of the state, North Dakota. I think it was North Dakota.
Okay.
And they were in for a coffee break, and Jim sang me this song. Don't let Tom Paul know I sang you this song because you're going to want it.
Yeah.
And sure enough, he sang it, and sure enough, I did.
Yes.
I said, and when I got back, I said, Tom Paul, I gotta have that song. And so anyway, the time it was over, I was able to do the song, and Hank Snow was holding the song at that time for his records.
Oh yes.
And so I was real fortunate to get it. It was a number one record. What'd you say, Donnie? I'm sorry.
I say it's one of our all-time favorites. I play it all the time here.
Oh really?
Yes.
Oh, that's great, because I love sitting in the All Night Cafe.
Yes, it's a classic, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I have a couple more questions for you today, Warner, and then can I get a promo from you?
Oh, sure, I guess so, yeah.
Okay.
Sure, no problem.
So, being the legend of country music that you are, I'd like to ask your opinion on the modern sounds of country.
I don't listen that much to country now to give you a respect, a good thought about the sounds of country music. What'd you say?
Yeah.
Good response. It is flowing, it's not country, so I'll take her word for it.
Exactly. I think that word is misplaced in today's music. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this country music, as we know it, it's going to come back.
Amen to that, Warner. Yes.
It's just a matter of time.
That's right.
You can't hold a good dog down, you know?
That's for sure.
It's going to come back.
Yes, exactly. Talking about your new project, there's a song off there called Pray for Your Country.
Yeah.
How did you come along with this one?
Well, that was a song that I wrote more or less as a patriotic type song.
Yes.
And I don't remember having anybody in mind. When I wrote it, anybody in mind. Of course, later on, I've always been a big Trump fan, and I would have had Trump in mind for it. But it's just a song that I wrote, and it's about it gets into the politics, I guess, a little bit. I don't know, but it's just the way I feel about praising your country, that we need more prayer for our country.
Amen. Yes,
no matter who it is, you know.
That's for sure, yes.
Yeah.
And I may upset you with this next question, but when the time comes, how would you like your legacy to be remembered?
Oh, I don't know. An old dog that did halfway goods or something like that.
Yes, okay.
I don't know. nothing fancy, just, I just did an interview for a lady that had a thing she had wrote where she called me was she country legend? Is that what it was?
Yes.
I said, oh man, that's really something, calling me a country legend.
Well, you
And
are.
she said, well, you are a country legend.
That's
and I
for
said,
sure, you
well,
are.
okay, well, I'll accept that. So, anyway, that's going to add a little spice to the pie.
Yes.
And so I'll accept that and go from there.
Okay, sure. So we'll say goodbye and
Okay, Don, that'll be fine. And my thanks to all the fans out there for listening to Warner Mack and requesting Warner Mack through the years. And we're not dead yet. So just hang in there and give us a clear ear to thanks to come. And we'll talk to you later. Thanks so much, Don, for the interview.
well, it's a true honor to have you on the show. I want to thank you for many years of wonderful music.
Well, thank you